Jim.
Question, do you have any thoughts on this recent bill to pass on banking and about the past 2,000 pages I understand at 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah. Jim, that's a great question. And I'll put it in terms of what we just talked about. And I'm gonna diverge just for a second. Somebody mentioned town halls. You did. That was my campaign, was town halls, and I invited anybody. We, advertised Republicans. It's a primary, but we had town halls, and it was the greatest venue. I love this environment. I love getting questions just like his and answering to you. Why? Because I'm going to be accountable to you. You and I may not agree on everything, but I really like having this question and answer time, and that's what you can expect out of me as well. And George Miller, yeah. So, the banking bill. First of all, any bill with 2,000 pages has got to be growing government, right? 2,000 pages of bill, got to be growing government. Now, we made some big mistakes to help this travesty of an economy happen. The first thing we did in 1999 out of a Republican Congress and a Democratic president was to remove the Glass-Steagall Act that allowed banks to invest in securities. It was put in place after the Depression. That was good regulation that we removed. So when we did that, it helped this bubble of housing, securities, all that stuff. It hurt us. I'm not against regulation. I'm not against government. That would be good government on the front side of that curve. Okay, now this new, any bill, I'm going to tell you right now, any bill coming out of this Congress is going to grow government and take freedom. Any one of them. There is a huge majority in there that believe this stuff, and George Miller is a leader of it. And he co-authored your health care bill. So no, I do not. I wouldn't even get to page 2 on this bill before I voted against it. I don't like it. There's another thing that I haven't read the bill, obviously, but I have read some things about it. And one of the provisions in there is going to make it very difficult for small banks to continue. And it's going to favor the large banks. And what did the government do to large banks this last time around? Right? The bank failure rate is higher now than ever, and it's all the small banks that are going out of business. Okay? The more you centralize, the more you support those big banks, the more you socialize loss and privatize gain. What do I mean by that? As you let all those people keep the money they earn, which I don't have a problem with that, but as you use government to support the losses of those big banks under the pretense that they're too big to fail, that's dumping their mistakes on your back. So no, I'm not for that banking bill. We need to reimpose the Glass-Steagall Act. Yeah, we do. But 2,000 pages to let government run the banking system, to let government have more control of your life? No, not at all. Not at all. Andy.
A few months back, I found at my door a little brochure that you had delivered.
Very good, very good. Where do you live, sir?
Here in Benicia.
That was probably one of my children that put the flyer on your door. It could have been a volunteer, but probably them.
Anyway, I took the time to read it.
Very good.
I was interested. What you said, basically, I was completely for. There was one thing I didn't like, and I'll get to that. However, I took the time to read it, and I wrote you a little note back with a donation because I felt you had the right direction. I still do.
Thank you.
There's one thing that bothered me, and I'll tell you why.
Sure.
You said in there you're a union person.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was a union contractor for many years. The problem is with this country, we're spoiled, rotten. We want everything to support us. Give too much away. Now you take the city, county, and state governments have unsustainable pensions. There is no way they can do it. That's why we're all in trouble now. The cost is unforgivable. I don't know how we're going to get out of it. You're going to take it away from me? You're going to have to some way because we can't pay it. People work less time, get these 90,000 to 100,000 pensions, full health care. It's unsustainable. They only work maybe for 20, 25 years, retire at 51 or 50. I just don't know where it's going.
You bet. And Andy, you touched on several things. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Unions are very strong with getting the votes. And I kind of think we're going to have to look a little differently on that because I know locally here, the police and firemen, the unions get behind the people that are running. Well, we like the police and firemen. They do protection for us. We can't deny that. They work hard, but they get paid pretty good. I don't think they should have a word in there as a group If they live in town, they vote. A lot of them don't live in town. So I just don't see, I think those kind of things should be taken away from them.
Yeah, and
Vote individually, fine, you have the right to do it. That's enough. I hope you can make it, and I hope you're listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you touched on there, and I like to talk about them. Because, yeah, number one, I'm running against the chairman of the Labor and Education Committee, and he gets a lot of money from unions. Teachers' unions, government unions, a lot of money. So as a union member, that's the first thing you touched on, I can go into those union meetings and sit down with them and say, I'm a alpha brother. I see eye to eye with you on this whole idea of the reason there are unions and what you're trying to do. And I work for United Airlines. Did I say that already, Toby?
I think you did.
United? Did I mention United? Better on-time performance than Delta? Did I mention that? No, but I can sit down with them. And at United Airlines, we have infamous poor labor management relations. If there was ever a reason for a union, it was United Airlines. So I sit down with them, I can win the votes as I talk to them back and forth, and we look eye to eye on some of these issues. Now, as a Republican, I come in with the idea is, what's the best thing for a union member? What does a union member need above all things? And that's a job, right? They need a job. And so a profitable, strong, sustainable business is a union's friend. Not a cash cow for them to gore and sacrifice to some other agenda. So we take that union membership that I have and we see eye to eye, we gain some commonality, then I can go in and explain some of the things that most of them understand, but some don't. And when you get up to the union boss level, forget it. They're on a different agenda. And I tell you right now, some of these union bosses, they don't care about your job. They care about that agenda, the socialized agenda, and their union dues and their perks and their power. They don't care about your job, and that's the problem with unions that keep pushing these higher and higher retirement packages. Yeah, see?
A teacher, and they don't care about the teacher.
There you go. There's more, another witness to that fact as they push it. Now, you were talking about government employee unions, which in the military, if we had a union, could you imagine that? There's some national security issues there, but could you imagine a bunch of pilots or a bunch of Army guys with guns going on strike? Okay, now you kind of have the same thing in the public sector. I don't like the idea of a government employee union holding the public hostage, because the government could care less when they're fighting over these things. They care about votes, some of those guys and gals, but they don't have a profit motive. If you're going to hold them hostage in some sort of strike or labor management, there's no incentive for them except re-election to negotiate. Now the re-election is where the problem comes, because now they give you the bank to get re-elected. So there's a lot of competing interests, and who loses? We do. We lose with higher taxes and now unsustainable government. And in the end, the union member loses, because you're exactly right. There is no way, and you heard it from me, probably not first, but I will say it. There is no way California will be able to make good on all the retirement promises they have made to all their state workers. No way. It's going to go away. Now I'll offer you United Airlines one more time as an example. We went through bankruptcy in 2003. We laid off over 50% of our workers. We took over 40% pay cuts. Our pensions are gone, and a whole lot more. And that is just one company of 100,000 people. Now I want you to think about what happens when your city, your county, your state, your federal government goes bankrupt. The pain and suffering that this country will go through if that happens.